welcome you again in this class. And yesterday we were discussing about fitting the linear equation, and this was the example where a field experiment was conducted and having different levels of nitrogen in mustard. And we have different or respective levels of the yield. And we tried to fit a linear equation. And we required to find out the value of A and B. And I have shown you how we can get the value of A and B. And then we can put these values in the equation, and equation becomes y is equal to 17.32 plus 0.028x. So this is the equation. Now we wanted to see whether this equation is genuinely linear or not. Then we have gone for F test, and there were two important sources of variation. One was regression, other was error. And we have found out the value of F calculated, which was 114. And then we compared it with the table value. And we found that the calculated value was much higher at 5% as well as at 1% level of significance. That means it was a linear equation. It has been decided or it has been proved statistically that it is genuinely a linear equation. Now we were required to plot it, and we needed to find out values of y min and y max, and putting the values of x as 0, which was the lowest level, and 120 as the highest level, we got y min and y max two values, and then we can point these values on the graph against 120 and 0, and we can straightway join these points. So it will be automatically a linear equation, and that you have fitted. So there is a trend that people write equation right on the line. So y is equal to 0.028x plus 17.32. It does not make a difference whether you write a before b or b before a. Sometimes you will find y is equal to 17.32 plus 0.028x or other way around also. This was another example and a hypothetical example where x is changing 1 and y is changing by 2. So 2 upon 1, delta y upon delta x. Here r square is 1. So whenever r square is 1, you can see the line is passing exactly through all the data points. Then I have told you about the characteristics of a graphical representation. What are the characteristics? Slope is b. Then I discussed about computation of coefficient of correlation and then coefficient of determination. Today we are going to understand the relationship between coefficient of correlation and coefficient of determination. If we see them mathematically, the r square, simple correlation coefficient, if you square it, it becomes r square, coefficient of determination. That means if you know the coefficient of correlation, you can calculate the coefficient of determination. And other way around also, if you know the coefficient of determination, that is r square, capital R square, if you take the under root of this, it becomes a small r, that is correlation coefficient. So you have seen this slide. And features of correlation coefficient, what are the characteristics of the correlation coefficient? They were discussed. And then requirement for testing the significance of correlation coefficient, the conditions under which we can test the correlation coefficient, they were also discussed. And we also seen how we can calculate the correlation coefficient, summation xy divided by under root summation x square summation y square. So overall, what we could learn up to now, point 1 to point 3, fitting the equation and then testing it for linearity, then plotting the equation, making it on the graph, and correlation analysis, and now we will see coefficient of determination and its use, and finally residual analysis. So now, if suppose you have worked out or you have calculated the correlation coefficient, now you want to see its significance. How we can see its significance? By two methods. One is by calculating the value of t, or other is simply comparing the R tables. R tables means coefficient of correlation tables are available, which were developed by R.A. Fisher. So you can see how t value is calculated. T is equal to R into under root n minus 2 divided by under root 1 minus r square. This is the value of t you can calculate, and suppose the value of t calculated is more than the table value, then it is significant, means your correlation coefficient becomes significant. The R.A. Fisher, with this relation, what you are seeing on your screen, R under R divided by under root 1 minus R square by n minus 2. With this relationship, he has developed some tables. So through these tables, you can directly see whether correlation coefficient is significant or not. But you have to see at n minus 2 degree of freedom. Suppose you have analyzed 4 pair of observation, then n minus 2 means 2. So at 2 degree of freedom, say here at 2 degree of freedom, and if you want to see at 5% level of significance, the value of R, table value of R is 0.950. So if your calculated value is more than 0.950, then it is significant, otherwise it is non-significant. Now in this case, we have seen it was significant. Our value was significant because the table value is 0.95 and your calculated value was 0.991. So 0.991 is more than 0.950 at 5% level of significance. Therefore, this relationship is a linear relationship. Now, there are many ways to write it. Now you can square this R. It becomes your coefficient of determination. And if you square it, it becomes 0.982. You can see on the screen 0.982 multiplied by 100. That means that 98.2% of the variation in the seed yield of mustard can be explained by the linear association between the seed yield of mustard and the nitrogen application rate. This is how we write the inferences. Other way could be, this implies that about 1.8, 100 minus 98.2 is equal to 1.8. So 1.8% of the total variation in seed yield of mustard can be explained by factors other than nitrogen. Means nitrogen is responsible for 98.2 because here there were two variables. One was nitrogen, which was independent variable. Other was yield. So this relationship explains 98.2%, but 1.8% may be due to some other reasons. So this implies that about 1.8% of the total variation in seed yield of mustard can be explained by factors other than nitrogen, or 1.8% of the total variation in seed yield of mustard remained unexplained. So this is how we write the interpretation of R square. Now let us see what is R square, coefficient of determination. It is the sum of squares due to regression when expressed as a proportion of the total sum of square. Means what fraction of variation is due to variation of some square is due to regression out of total sum of squares. Means it measures the amount of variation in y accounted by the variation in x. R square indicates the proportion of the variation in the dependent variable explained by the model. So there are 3 or 4 different ways to express coefficient of determination. Overall, you can see formula R square is equal to sum of square due to regression divided by total sum of square. I think you must have seen in the table, in the ANOVA table I have shown where you went for F test. In that case, sources of variation, first source was regression, second source was error, and third was the total of sum of square due to regression plus error or residual. So here you can see R square is the ratio of sum of square due to regression divided by total sum of square. So in our example, we can put the values. 6.27 was the sum of square due to regression and 6.38 as total sum of square. So it comes out to be 0.982. So you can see directly you can calculate R square, or you can calculate R and then square it. So you can do either way. The value of R square is the proportion of the variation in y that is explained by the linear association between x and y. Many times you will be asked in your interviews or in your examination, let us tell me what is the difference between R and R square. So by now I think you understand the difference in correlation coefficient, which is which tells us the strength of relationship between two variables. And coefficient of determination tells us the proportion of sum of square which is occupied by regression in comparison to the total sum of square. So there are many ways to express coefficient of determination. Now, the value of R square quantifies the goodness of fit. It tells us that what quantity of data is being represented by the equation, a fraction between 0 and 1. The value of R square lies between 0 and 1. Remember, for correlation coefficient, the values are from -1 to +1. But here, all the values are in plus, starting from 0 to +1. And it has no units. High values indicate the curve comes closer to the data. Sometimes you will get correlation coefficient value as 1. So R square will be 1. That means all the line is passing through all the data points. And what statisticians say, sometimes you will find a small r for correlation coefficient and capital R also for correlation coefficient. So in this case, when the relationship is simple, means you have simple correlation analysis, means only two variables are involved, then we use small r or small r. Otherwise, for multiple correlation analysis and multiple regression analysis, if we calculate r or r square, it is in uppercase. So that is the difference, that people write sometimes small r or capital R. Otherwise, the values are same. Whether you write small r or capital R for correlation coefficient, or r square, small r square or capital R square for coefficient of determination, the value will not change. It is only just some statistician follow this. When r square is 0, suppose sometimes you may get value of r square as 0, the best fit curve fits the data no better than a horizontal line. So it will be a horizontal line if your r square is 1 and it passes, all the mean passes through this line. In this case, knowing x does not help you predict y. When r square is 1, all points lie exactly on the curve with no scatter. So in this case, there is no scatter. All the points will be on the line. If we know x, we can calculate y exactly. So because there is no residual in this case, there is no error. All the variation is due to regression. So we can think of r square as the fraction of the total variance of y that is explained by the model. So this is also a definition of r square. Means r square is the fraction of the total variance of y that is explained by the model or by the equation that you have estimated. By the equation that you have estimated. Only R square is not the main criterion for whether a fit is reasonable. A high R square tells us that the curve came very close to the points, but does not tell that the fit is sensible in other ways. Actually, these statisticians are going further. Many times they challenge R square also. Suppose your R square is even 1. They say it is not the best. One should go for residual analysis. And in case of residual also, they go for F test, T test, and so on. So actually, this subject is very big, very large subject. So we will not go into that much of details. I think we can stop here. And if you have any question related to the things which we discussed up to now, if you have anything in your mind, you are free to discuss, free to interact.
Sir, I am not clear about when to use that capital R square and when to use small r square.
Okay. Suppose you have x and y. X is independent variable and y is dependent variable. This is known as simple relationship, simple correlation analysis or regression analysis. Means in correlation and regression analysis, when we use only two variables. So this is simple analysis. Here we use small r. If we calculate correlation coefficient, it will be small r for correlation coefficient and small r square for coefficient of determination. Now, if you have two or more than two variables, suppose two or three independent variables are affecting one dependent variable, then the analysis will be multiple correlation analysis and multiple regression analysis. So in this case, if you calculate correlation coefficient or coefficient of determination, you will keep capital R for correlation coefficient and capital R square for regression coefficient of determination. Okay, so in multiple correlation and regression analysis, we use uppercase for both, and in simple correlation and multiple regression analysis, we use small letters, R and small r square.
Okay,
So,
sir.
but it is just to it is not compulsory always. You can use any one of them. And actually, when we use statistical softwares like Excel or any other, they always write capital R for correlation coefficient, and R square, capital R square for coefficient of determination. Any other point? Are you listening to me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So we move to the next presentation. So now we have seen up to now we have seen linear relationship. Now you see non-linear. So in the last case we have seen when we put F test, the relationship in that example was linear. Suppose the test was non-significant. That means the relationship may be non-linear. Non-linear. If there is no linear relationship, that does not mean that this data will not have some other kind of relationship. This data may have some other kind of polynomial relationship, and it is a form of now about curvilinear relationship or non-linear relationship. It is a form of linear regression. Even in curvilinear equation, you see the word linear is there. So it is also a kind of linear, but it is curvilinear. So it is a form of linear regression in which the relationship between independent variable x and the dependent variable y is modeled as the nth order polynomial. Means it can be x power 2, x power 3, or some other form of polynomial equation. The curvilinear relationship among variables is quite common in biological organisms, including crops. In crops, you have seen that the pattern of plant growth over time, which is usually slow in the beginning, that increases at a fast rate at intermediate growth stages, and finally it slows down. So this is kind of curvilinear relationship where the rate of change is not constant. In the beginning, it may be very slow, then it may be very fast, then will start decreasing. The rate of growth changes. Here, the rate of change is not constant. Therefore, it is kind of curvilinear or non-linear relationship. So, it is a polynomial type of relationship except the linear relationship, which is linear. The regression models or equations of polynomial type are quadratic equation y is equal to a plus bx plus cx square. Then you can add one more term, that is dx power cube. So it becomes cubic. You add one more. So you can go on adding these terms and the polynomial will increase. So nth degree polynomial can be written as b0. b0 is for a, intercept, plus b1x, b2x square, b3x3, b4x4. It depends on your choice whether you want b0, b1, b2, b3 for regression coefficient, or you can write a, b, c, d, e, f, g. So that will be your choice. But remember that in the equation, all values are positive. See, first one, quadratic, y is equal to a plus bx plus cx square. If I ask you to write quadratic equation, this is the equation. Y is equal to a plus bx plus cx square. So here you can see we got two regression coefficient. One is b, one is c. So part of the line will be expressed by small b, and part of the line will be expressed by small c. So you can see the change The change is expressed by two different regression coefficient, B and C. There is no single regression coefficient in this case. Actually, when we work out, when we calculate or when we compute the equation, we get the value of C in minus. We get the value of C in minus. Therefore, finally, you can have y is equal to a plus bx minus cx square, but the equation has all positive values. Now, what we are going to learn today, fit the quadratic equation. We will take one example and example of the data where you will have two variable x and y, and from the data fit we will fit the quadratic equation. Number two, then we will test that equation for curvilinearity, whether this equation is genuinely a quadratic equation or curvilinear equation. We will test that. Then third thing we will learn is plotting the quadratic response curve. We will plot it. The fourth will be computation of correlation coefficient and regression coefficient of determination. Fifth will be testing of the significance of the R, correlation coefficient. Remember, it is linear correlation coefficient. So we need to linearize our equation. From the quadratic form to linear form, we need to convert. Then we will see some inferences, some conclusions. What does it mean all? And finally, if our equation is significant, if it is quadratic, we will see how we can compute the optimum economic dose of the fertilizer. So this we will go step by step. I mentioned all the steps here so that you can make a story out of it. Now, the first job is fitting a quadratic response equation, means the data is to be fitted in an equation. So there are many cases where this quadratic relationship is quite common, particularly where we have inputs in quantitative form like fertilizer rates, herbicide rates, or rates of water, rates of irrigation, or manure application rates, and so on. So most of these variables have quadratic relationship. So response to fertilizer, plant population, irrigation is generally follows a quadratic relationship. Based upon experience, people have already done this kind of work, and they have found that in most of such cases, we observe a quadratic kind of response. In case of fertilizer, usually the response is quadratic. So, but before fitting such response equation, it is necessary to ascertain that the treatment variable have a significant effect on the dependent variable. When you use any statistical design, you go for statistical significance of the treatments. And if the treatment difference is significant, then you go for correlation and regression analysis. So the fitting of quadratic equation is shown below. You can see this example. I've taken this example directly from Gomez and Gomez book. I'm regularly asking you to make study from the Gomez and Gomez book. So this example is from there, which says that fit a quadratic equation from the data given in the following table and calculate the optimum economic dose of the K2O when the cost of 1 kg K2O is rupees 10 and price of 1 quintal rice is 500. So this is just one example where you see X. X is the levels of potassium, which is 0, 30, 60, 90 and 120 kg per hectare. And this is the grain yield of rice obtained at 0, 30, 60 and so on. So this is the tables. You try to understand this table. And before I start discussing this table, see the point number 1, 2, 3 on the bottom. On the bottom, so to fit this equation, you need certain variables. Certain variables are to be calculated. Like in case of linear equation, we have calculated some variables, total sum of square, y square, corrected sum of square for x and corrected sum of square for y, we have calculated. Similarly, several parameters are to be calculated to find out the value of A, B, and C. In this case, in quadratic equation, there are three constants, A, B, and C. And we are required to find out the value of A, B, and C. To find out these values, we need certain corrected sum of squares. So see number 1, corrected sum of squares are required, they are listed here, summation small z1 square, z2 square and so on. Number 2 is, for our example, the linearized form of the second degree polynomial. So actually with certain relationship, this quadratic equation has been converted into a linear equation. After converting into linear equation, the simple procedure of regression analysis can be employed here. So the equation has been linearized. Y is equal to A plus B Z1 plus C Z2. So this Z1 in place of X, Z1 is in place of X. The statistician have linearized it into Z. And then X square has been converted into Z2. So it is not a polynomial form. Now it is linear actually. It is linear. For further details, you can see Gomez and Gomez book, or you can discuss with any statistician. You will have one course in statistics very shortly, or maybe in the current semester or next semester. You will be having some statistical courses, and there you can see how these equations have been linearized. So this is beyond the scope of my content here. So after linearizing this equation, you can compute the value of A, B, and C. So now you see the table. In table, there are different columns, starting from column 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 12. So see the column number 1, where you have input, which is independent variable. So you see x kg K2O per hectare. Z1 is equal to x. So x has been converted with some relationship into Z1. So now this x is your Z1, 0, 30, 60, it has same value. And then y, it is grain yield. Grain yield is kg per hectare. The same data is given. And then Z2. Z2 is x square. So Z1 is exactly x. Z1 is exactly x. And Z2 is x square, which has been means this x2 has been converted into Z2. So you need to square it. So it is 0, 900, 3600, 8100 and so on. So it is x square, means square of the column 1. Now number 4. Number 4 is small z1. Small z1 is your z1 minus z1 bar. So your Z1 is column number 1. Take the mean which is 60 and subtract the values 0 minus 60, 30 minus 60. So you get the column number 4. Now column number 5 is small z1 square. So you square the previous column 60 into 60, 3600, 30 into 3900. Column number 6 is Z2. Z2 is Z2 minus Z2 bar. Your Z2 is column number 3. Column number 3 and take the mean of this, which will be Z2 bar, and then subtract. So you get column number 6. So it is self-explanatory. You try to follow it. And then column number 7 is the square of column number 6. Column number 6 can be squared and you get these values. Then small y, mean against the dependent variable, is subtracted. So y minus y bar. So here y values minus your mean of y. So you get this, and then number y, number 9, small y square. You square the previous column, you get the squared values, and this is total sum of square. Then you need to calculate some cross products at number 10, 11, 12. So based upon these signs, you can calculate them. First is small z1 into y, capital Y, then z2 into capital Y, and then z1, small z1, z2. So you need to calculate several parameters to know the value of A, B, and C. So this is how we do some analysis to compute the value of A, B, and C. That means we are fitting the equation. So now let us see how we can find out the value of B and C. In case of B, you have certain parameters, and these formulas have been derived by a statistician, and they are there. So to calculate value of B, These are the different formula. This is the formula, and by putting all these parameters from the last slide or table, you get the value of B as 26.646. You need not to bother that you need to remember this formula, but friends, this is the procedure. And if you do it in Excel or in any statistical software, it will not give you background, how it was done. It will give you result. So your inferences will not be good. If you directly do these analysis from the software without understanding the background. So understanding of the background is very, very important. So that way you get the value of B as 26.646. Now compute the value of C. C is equal to summation Z1 square and so on. So by putting the value of these parameters from the table, you get C value in minus 0.1178. So now we have calculated the value of B and C, and let us see how we can compute the value of A. Value of A is equal to Y bar minus B Z1 minus C Z2 bar. So by this formula, we can calculate the value of A. So by putting the value of B and Z1 and C and Z2, mean, so you get value of A as 4861.66. So these are the estimated value of A, B and C. A value is 4861.66, B value is 26.646 and C value is minus 0.1178. And if you put these values in the equation, you get the equation y is equal to this. So now we have estimated the equation. We have developed the equation or we have fitted the equation. So for that data, this is the quadratic equation. Since the value of C was in minus, therefore here the value becomes minus. So now I invite your queries, your questions. If you have any point, you are welcome. You can clarify your doubts if I am able to clarify your doubts. You are free to ask. See, just I show you again. We started from here, just 4 slides, and this, and this. Only 4 slides. So if you have any question on these 4 slides,
So at the input value 0 means x equals to 0.
yeah,
Then if we put x equal to 0, then we get that y is equal to a. So in that case, we can get the a value. It's not acceptable.
yeah, a value. See, in our agricultural situation, like your fertilizer application or input application, our soil gives us something. So soil contains nitrogen, soil contains potassium. So that is not accounted here actually. So even at zero level, this case is different from industry or from other input. The nature of our input is like this, that even at zero we will get some y. So therefore, that question will not come here.
No, so my question is that in that case, there we can get the value of a means if I put the x equal to 0 in this equation, then it
Yeah,
comes y equal to a.
yeah. Y is equal to a. In that case, y is equal to a.
Then sir, in the table we get that at the input level of 0, the y is equal to 4878. Then sir, can we tell that a equal to 4878?
0.66, yeah. Yeah,
But
4861.66.
sir, in that table, it is given that at input level x equal to 0, the y is 4878, means 4878.
Yeah,
But sir, a is coming at 4861.
yeah.
That,
So actually, this that is actual value. That is actual value. This is 4878. It is the actual value, observed data, and that is the predicted data. That is the predicted data that we found from the equation. So this 4861 is lying on the equation. It is the estimated value. This is small y, and that is capital Y. That is observed data, and this is your predicted value that you have estimated. You got the difference in observed data and estimated data. This is the fitted value. This is the fitted value. This is in the equation. So it is going to come different. It is going to come different from what we have actual data, because there may be some error, because this line will not pass exactly through the all points. Our point was 4878, but line will pass little lower, above this, because this is lower, 4861. So the data will remain above the line. The actual data will be there above the line, and this predicted data is below that because it is lower. So 4861 is the estimated value of A. It is not the actual value, therefore it will be different. I don't know whether I was able to understand your question or not, but still, if I could not answer, you can send me by email. I will definitely reply it.
Yes, I understand.
You understood? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we go to the R square. Next is calculation of the coefficient of determination. So it is also with some relationship. This is the formula to calculate R square. And by putting the values of these parameters, you can calculate the R square. So here it comes out to be 0.996. Then we need to calculate the value of F. We want to know whether this equation that has been estimated. So this is the equation, you see 4861. This is the equation. We want to see whether this equation is genuinely quadratic or not. So to test this, we need to calculate F value. So this will be calculated F value, and the formula is n minus k minus 1 summation z1 y c this. So this is the formula. Don't worry, you need not to remember. You whenever you required, you can see this formula. Here you see n means number of pair of observation, how many pairs have entered, and then in this case there were 5 pairs, and k means number of variables linearized. So here two variables were linearized. One was x and other was x square. If it was cubic, then there will be three variables, x square and x cube. Here it is quadratic, therefore there are two variables, one is x, other is x square. So these two, the k is equal to 2. So here k value is 2 and n value is 5 minus 1, and you can take all these parameters from the table and you get the value of f calculated as 245, and value at table value of f is 99. So now what is your inference? Anyone can tell me? What does it indicate? What is
So
meaning
that
of
is
this?
significant.
It is significant. Good. It is significant. Yeah, it is significant means it has been proved that this equation is highly significant. Highly significant means that this relationship of x and y, of potassium and grain yield of rice, is following a quadratic pattern. It is genuinely, it is surely a quadratic relationship between potassium application and grain yield of rice within the range. Remember, we need to mention the range also, within the range of 0 to 120, because we cannot say what will happen at 140. If you increase the level of potassium to 140, 180, we cannot know, because we have tested only up to 120. So we don't know what will happen after 120. So we need to mention the range also, that within the range from 0 to 120, it is following a quadratic relationship. Since it is significant at 1%, then definitely it is significant at higher level of significance. That may be 5%, 2%, or any level. So inferences are, because the computed F value exceeds the tabular F value at n and n minus 2 degree of freedom, n and n minus 2 degree of freedom, the estimated quadratic regression equation is significant at the, 1 and n minus 2, 1 and n minus 2 degree of freedom. Because here for regression degree of freedom is 1. At 1 and n minus 2 degree of freedom is significant. Yield response of rise to K2O fertilization can be adequately described by the quadratic equation. R square, your R square was 0.996. If you convert it into percentage, which is 99.6% of the total variation in mean yields was explained by the quadratic regression equation. Means most of the relationship, say 99%, 6%, 99.6% of the relationship between x and y was explained by quadratic relationship. So this is how we interpret the coefficient of determination. Coefficient of determination. Now, determination of the optimum economic dose of the fertilizer. If your equation is quadratic, then we can determine the optimum economic dose of the fertilizer. If your equation is linear, you can never determine the optimum economic dose of the fertilizer. This is point number one. Your quadratic relationship has to be significant. What happens many times, I have seen students, their equation is linear. Their equation is the data is showing the linear relationship. The significant linear relationship has been established, but by force, student fit it as a quadratic equation. They fit it as a quadratic equation. So their optimum economic dose sometimes goes beyond the dose that was not used. It goes beyond, instead of 120, they get optimum dose as 150, which was not tested. So many times mistake is made. You can find out the optimum economic dose of the fertilizer only when your linear relationship is non-significant and quadratic relationship is significant. Then you can get optimum economic dose of the fertilizer. So why we need to determine optimum dose of fertilizer? Because we want to save the fertilizer and we want to get maximum return from the fertilizer application. So as a rule of thumb, optimal rates determined on an economic basis are smaller than those required to produce maximum crop yield. So here you have seen that the highest yield was obtained at 120 kg K2O per hectare, but the optimum level may be much lower or maybe lower than the highest level. We will see how it is done. So economic yields are normally 80%. 80% economic optimum doses are normally 80% of the maximum yield dose. It has been observed through different experimentation that on an average, if you get a dose where you get maximum yield, so optimum dose is normally 80% of that. It has been calculated or it has been experienced by the people. It does not include economic variables such as fixed cost associated with fertilizer use or interest rate to be paid on loans for purchasing fertilizer. It considers only the cost of the fertilizer. It does not consider other kind of cost, fixed cost or other variables. From the quadratic equation y is equal to a plus bx plus cx square, the optimum economic dose can be worked out by formula q upon p minus d divided by 2c. This is the relationship where B and C are the regression coefficient that you have calculated in the equation, and Q is the cost of 1 unit of input. Q is the cost of 1 unit of input and P is the price of 1 unit of output. And remember that whatever units you have used in the equation, same unit you have used for the cost and price. Suppose your K2O application is in kg per hectare, kg per hectare. So it is in kilograms. So the cost of potassium should be in kilogram. What is the cost of 1 kg K2O? Similarly, price, in this case, it is in kilograms. So we need to take the kilogram price. What is the price of 1 kilogram rice? So we need to take the same unit, price and cost for the same unit, what has been used in the data. I will explain this point again later. So this is how we can calculate the optimum economic dose of the fertilizer. Now I seek your attention. You need to be attentive. It will take only 5-6 minutes, but you should understand this slide very carefully. Now first is maximum yield dose, X max minus B upon 2C. This B is, you put the minus sign. B is your 26.646 divided by 2C. 2 into minus 0.1178 is the value of C. If you do the calculation, you find out 113 kilogram K2O per hectare. You were getting maximum yield at 120 under actual condition. Now, according to this equation, you get maximum yield dose at 113.09 kg K2O per hectare. This is from the estimated equation. Now, optimum economic dose is Q upon P minus B divided by 2C. So, cost of 1 kg K2O is 10 rupees. It was 10 rupees for 1 kg. And 5 is the price of 1 kg rice, because the unit of rice yield is in kg. So 10 by 5 minus B. B is 26 and divided by 2C. You get 104.6. This 104.6 is your optimum economic dose of the K2O. Now, response at optimum dose. Many times you must have heard response. So now let us see what is response in case of fertilizer, in case of any input. Response means yield at optimum dose minus yield at control. This is your response. What is the yield at optimum dose minus yield at control? So you can calculate the yield at optimum dose. First you need to calculate yield at optimum dose, then yield at control. So put the value of X, which was 104.6. The optimum dose was 104.6 and 0 was the yield at control, means X value was 0. Value of X was 0 in the response equation. So you get answer 6359.96 by putting the value. So response at optimum dose is equal to 6359.96 minus 4861.66. So you get 1498.3 kg per hectare. So if you put 104.6 in the equation, you will get this value of 6359. Similarly, if you put 0 in place of X, you get 4861.66. So difference of these two is 1498.3. So this is response at optimum dose. Now response in kg per kg K2O. So this is calculated from response at optimum dose divided by optimum dose. So you put the values and you get 14.32 kg grain per kg K2O. Next is profit. Value of produce, how much produce, what is the economic value of the produce in rupees per hectare minus cost of K2O per hectare. So value of produce means response at optimum dose into selling price. What was the rate? And cost of K2O is cost of 1 kg K2O into optimum dose. So all these calculations are now based upon optimum dose. So profit is equal to cost of 1 kg 1498.3 into 5. 5 was the rate minus 10 into 104.6, you get 6445.5. Return in rupees per rupee on K2O, profit per hectare, cost of K2O, so you get 6.16. If you invest 1 rupee on K2O, you get 6.16 rupees return. So if you read it very carefully, so everything is self-explanatory and you will be able to identify all these parameters. So you have a look again on this table, and if you have any difficulty, I will explain. Do you have any difficulty in this calculation?
Sir,
No, sir.
one question.
Yes.
Sir, why the farmer not use maximum yield dose?
Pardon? Why?
Sir, why the farmer not use maximum yield dose?
Why the farmers not use maximum yield dose? See, if you use maximum yield dose, then the return per rupee invested will be less. The return will be less. Return per rupee invested will be less. He will get maximum return per rupee invested on KTO at the optimum dose. Therefore, he should not go for maximum yield dose. That is the fundamental purpose of fitting the quadratic equation and find out the optimum dose. Because if you use excess dose of fertilizer, it will give you less and less return, first thing. And secondly, the return will be, it will pollute the environment. Excess dose of fertilizer will pollute the environment. So it is not good from environmental point of view as well as from economics point of view. Therefore, farmers should use optimum dose of the fertilizer. Maximum yield dose is not recommended. See, that is the basic purpose. Why to use 120 kg the K2O per hectare if you are getting maximum return from 113 kg K2O per hectare? So that will be loss. That will be loss to the farmer. Any other point?
Sir, a question from previous parts.
Pardon?
Sir, I have a question from previous part.
Okay. This?
Sir, if X and Y is given for any, means like we have input and output dose. So, and we tested for linear significant, means we tested significant for linearity. Then if we find that it is significant, then it follows a linear regression curve.
Yeah.
So then do we need to test it for quadratic regression curve, means like quadratic curve? Do we need to test it?
Yeah. Actually, you are really, I appreciate, you have very good knowledge of the subject. I'll go to that. I will teach that also. So you have little patience. So that is actually known as best regression, to find out the best regression. Many times what happens, the same data will show you significance. It will show that linearity is also significance and curvy linearity is also significant. So to find out the best regression, I will discuss that issue. But I appreciate your question at the point of time, but I will answer it in subsequent presentation in later. So you are really
Okay,
much ahead of the thing. I'm very, very thankful to you, but I don't want to spend time now. I will explain that later, okay?
okay,
So,
sir.
yeah, definitely. I appreciate your knowledge of this subject. So, any other question? No question. We go forward. So, what are the uses of response curve? Interpolation means you can make predictions. You can make predictions. Suppose we have not used 40 kg K2O or 35 kg K2O, so we can know the value of Y for the unknown values of X. Relative response we can know. Relative response means you can compare two varieties. Response of two varieties you can take means take the same level of nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium, or any input, and take two variety, three variety, four variety. You can compare the relative response of varieties. Which variety is doing better at lower level? Which variety is doing at higher level? What are the different equations for different varieties? This is very interesting subject, friends. Whenever you use research, if you have some knowledge of this subject, you can make better interpretations of your result. Many times you can compare different sources of nutrients. You can use the same level, but your sources are different. Maybe 5 sources, 2 sources, 3 sources of fertilizer, and you can see the relative response of those sources of fertilizer. So this knowledge is genuinely or very, very important. To find out the optimum economic dose, we use response curve quadratic relationship to increase the efficiency with which the farm resources are used, to provide guideline to the farmers. So these response curves have many uses. And we can also see the relationship between two variables. Suppose you want to know the relationship between uh, just let me find some example. relationship between nitrogen uptake and your grain yield. You want to see that how this nitrogen uptake is affecting my grain yield. Then you can use this relationship, correlation regression analysis. If you want to know how this leaf area index is affecting dry matter accumulation, does this leaf area index has any relationship with the dry matter production? Does the plant height has any relationship with the grain yield? Does the uptake of phosphorus is affected by uptake of nitrogen? So you take any variable and see the relationship, whether this relationship is linear, quadratic, or what kind of relationship it is. So you can use this kind of correlation regression analysis in many spheres, in your thesis, in your papers, and maybe in the next class I will show you. I will show you some papers where this kind of knowledge can be used to draw more and more conclusion, to draw interpretation. This is very useful subject for students of agriculture. Later on, I have used this kind of knowledge in several papers, several places, and this is quite useful. So better to develop some mastery on this subject. And I tell you, whatever I taught you, it is ABCD. It is just ABCD of regression and correlation analysis. It is much broader subject. All kind of modeling is based upon this. So we move further. And here I end today's lecture. So what can I request you? I'm going on leave by this weekend, and I may not be there next week. So actually, and from next week, someone else will take your class, and I want to take 1.5 hours class. I have time today and tomorrow. So can you suggest me some appropriate time for extra class today or tomorrow? Or you don't want? It is up to you. But I would request you to give 1.5 hours extra class today or tomorrow. I suggest 5:15 today, or for you are not audible.